Hey there, and welcome to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Leavitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore. You can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline at 407-478-8200, or go ahead and leave an open mic using the WDBO app. Don't forget to check out their website over at refreshcomputers.net, or stop in at the Refresh Computer Superstore in Longwood at 820 East State Road 434, just 3.5 miles east of I-4 in Longwood. Store hours are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and if you're listening to the show here on Saturday, that means you still have time to stop by. They'll be open until 7 p.m. today. And now, since it's just him, the man himself, David Leavitt.
All right. Thanks, Greg. And thanks, everybody, for listening to yet another edition of Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. As Greg said, I am David Leavitt, the owner and founder of Refresh Computers, a company that's been around Central Florida for, more than the past 25 years or so. So really proud of that fact and proud to be around and helping people out with their computer needs all across Central Florida. And Greg, you know, we get people from Lakeland, we get people from Daytona, we even get people from Tampa coming over. And I recall one day, probably about a month or so ago, we had somebody that came up from Miami.
Oh, wow. I see so often we see people from Jacksonville on some of your business spotlight section and things like that. So it's amazing the far reach that your company, again, the good reputation that you've garnered and earned has just kind of spread throughout the Central Florida and now apparently the South Florida region as well.
Oh, yeah. And, and it's something, people ask me all the time, why don't you open another location, in some of these far reaching places? And I'm just afraid I can't do it as well.
Right.
That's as simple as that, and we do a pretty good job. We have a really great staff where we're located, and, they are able to take care of people. And if you happen to live in an outlying area that you have to travel far, I really appreciate you coming by and letting us help you out with your computing needs, whether it's purchasing a quality refurbished computer or if it's something that we need to repair for you. We're there for you. But we just can't open another location because I have no control.
Right. It makes it so difficult once you go from that. Again, you've got your home location. You've been there for how many years again?
25.
25 years now. And you've built a great reputation and garnered that reputation through hard work and all of those factors that go into being a small business in a specific area. And to build that outreach, it can be really, really tough.
Yeah. Well, let me clarify, because I certainly can be gone for any extended period of time and not worry about anything because of the people I have working for me.
Absolutely. From
our store manager, Casper, to, all of our other techs in the store, everybody that works at Refresh Computers, excuse me, they're all technicians. And so, they,
and again, just the business that you've been able to do with those people in the Central Florida area, it makes it so much more, I want to say, gratifying that you've been in this Central Florida area for so long, and again, have built those great relationships between some of the best companies in our Central Florida area as well.
Absolutely. And so, today we're going to talk about something maybe a little different, like something that we haven't really covered a whole lot in the past, and pretty much most of this first segment, other than what we were just talking about, is going to be about Apple. So if you have an Apple device, Greg, do you have an Apple device?
I do not. I'm an Android boy till I die kind of guy. So.
I know. I've had an Apple device. I've had an iPhone for, I don't know how many years now, but I know about 7 or 8 years ago, I tried to switch to Android. Man, I got lost.
Yeah, I've had them. I was a big HTC guy when those were the popular Android phones out and things like that. I'm a Samsung person now, and I'll be the green bubble guy in your group chat until the end of time. So
well, that's good, because we Apple always needs that competition.
They need the competition.
They definitely need it. So because what they charge for these devices is I don't know, shameful in my opinion. So I can't think of that's the first word that comes to my mind is they charge so much, and it don't cost that much to make these things. Come on. Anyway, not even anywhere near that. But, so we'll talk a little bit more about that and, what's going on with Trump and, what he's talking to Tim Cook about over at Apple and, and threatening the higher tariff if Apple decides to ship iPhones from India, because they loaded up a few cargo planes full of iPhones from China, right, and flew it over to India to finish the development or construction, I guess, or building of these phones. And so to help avoid some of that higher tariff, but doing that doesn't help us here anymore.
Yeah,
So,
avoiding the point of the tariffs at that point, right?
Well, yeah, and I think that's why Trump is probably talking to them about it. So it's just amazing that Apple already said that they were going to be investing. How much money was that? Like $500 billion, right, into the U.S. economy here.
That was what they were saying, and a lot of people took that to mean that they were going to be moving some operations over here, including some of their smartphone and laptop development. But like you just mentioned, it seems to be maybe that not being the path that they're looking at.
Well, no, it is. They're actually looking at both. They're building a server manufacturing plant in Houston. They've already started on that, and also an Apple manufacturing academy in Detroit. That's where they train workers and advanced tech and stuff like that. They expect to hire 20,000 people in the U.S., mostly though in research and development stuff. So, it's not the building of these phones and these devices that's happening here, the manufacturing of them. So that's what we're looking to get here in the USA. But a few other things other than tariff related that's going on with Apple right now is, Apple has two main events every year in their community. So most people are aware of the event that happens every September or so when Apple unveils their latest iPad, their latest iPhone, and, maybe a new gadget from time to time.
The new chipsets and all that kind of information as well. Yep.
Yeah. So that happens about every September, but also coming up soon, June 9th through the 13th, is Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference. And that's actually a really big event as well. And, they have over 1,000 developers that they invite over to Apple Park, where they have the meeting. And they're hoping to rebuild some goodwill this year after Apple is getting a lot of criticism about its closed AI approach.
There were a lot of people frustrated with that for sure, especially some of these new AI developers on the block that felt they were being unfairly treated by Apple with that.
They were, and also Apple is behind the eight ball. I mean, they're behind the times. I mean, they're not up to speed. So they need to get these developers in there. They need to kiss some developers' rear ends or something and have them come up with some ideas, because they're not coming from Apple these days, especially in the AI arena, because it's really important. We've talked several times on the show about how important AI is today, and how it's going to be even more important in the future.
Yeah, it's just getting more and more integrated in more of the products that we use every day. I mean, if you log into your email, there's an AI prompt asking how you'd like to have certain things organized, or if you're looking for something specific. So it's going to be more and more of that as we continue on.
And those are nice little AI tools, but they're just barely scrape the surface of what AI capabilities. We had a whole show once about stop Googling stuff, right? Hey,
right.
If you're still Googling, so use the AI tool. It's, you want something more interactive. I mean, Google's okay for some things today, but you're not going to get that response. You're not going to get a clear, crisp response from Googling something that you get from either Grok or you get Microsoft's version of AI.
Yeah, their Office 365 AI product.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, or even ChatGPT for that matter. So you can use one of those. But back to Apple stuff. So the Worldwide Developers Conference this year, again, coming up early next month. They're going to be talking about a lot of software stuff. These are some of the things that they're going to be talking about in the Apple world that you might be interested in if you're an Apple enthusiast at all. They're going to be talking about the iOS 19, which will be the later operating system for your iPhone, and with a smarter Siri, right? So if you're waiting, if you're waiting for the new iPhone, like the iPhone 17 coming out, that's going to be September's event. So you're not going to hear about that during this conference. And so the other things they're going to be talking about is not only the new iPhone operating system that's to be developed, which is iOS 19, but the iPad operating system also, which is iPad OS 19, and also the one for the watch. The watch operating system will be operating system 12, by the way, if anybody's interested in that. And then the Mac OS will be 16, and then Vision for their goggles thing is Vision OS 3.
Have you used any of those kind of Vision goggle, visual reality kind of things?
I have not. And it's not because I don't want to. It's because I just never had the opportunity to borrow somebody's before I would buy one.
Right.
I would want to check them out. And I'm just not somebody that spends a lot of time in front of a screen.
Sure.
So I don't want to spend a lot of time, wearing goggles. But I do understand that they're really awesome tools. How about you? Do you use
I've
them?
done a little. I don't own a pair myself. Again, I've borrowed when at friends' houses and played, on like the PlayStation virtual reality version, or also Google has theirs. And it is amazing some of the tools that they've come out that go with not just the games or sitting and watching a movie in more of an immersive environment, but actually some of the tools that you're able to use using some of those motion capture options.
And it's like 3D stuff, right?
Yeah,
so,
it's amazing.
Yeah, so it's 3D right in front of you. So it's people use them for travel. I know that you like travel tips, and there's places that have these programs that you can immerse yourself right in the middle of the Grand Canyon or something and see where you're going to be going.
Some views that maybe you never would have been able to experience, and they are able to. It's almost like an IMAX in your house kind of thing.
And just being able to turn your head around, right, and look up and down, and you're just seeing all around you. It sounds pretty cool. And I have to admit, I have no idea where Apple is with theirs, and what they're doing with it. So maybe you have one if you're listening, and you'd want to send us an open mic with what you think about them. So that would be kind of cool. So again, every year Apple has these two events. The first one is the Worldwide Developers Conference. It's every June, and it's where they invite developers from all over the world. And see, last year they shut out people from coming to the developers conference if they were coming to talk about AI. They didn't want you there. And that ticked a lot of people off. And so just in that short period of time, in 1 year, from last year to this year, the advances in AI took off so much, and they increased so much, so vast, that Apple lost out on a lot. They lost out on a ton of AI development tools because they basically shut people out. And so this year they're going to be inviting all those people back. And like I said, probably bowing to them and saying, hey, oh, you're welcome to come here and help us with our AI development stuff, because boy, they need it. Another thing they're going to be talking about is, I mentioned Siri. So there's going to be like Siri 2.0. It's like going to be like the first like really major upgrade to Siri, because ever since Siri's been around, which gosh, I don't know how long it's been, many years now, right? It's just been the same thing, updated here and there, a little tweak here and there, but this is a major upgrade for Siri.
And like you mentioned, a lot of it was so much of Siri was just kind of basic searches or basic additions to scheduling an appointment, things like that. Now with what it seems like they're going to do, integrating AI just like everyone else seems to be doing into their search engines like that.
And to Siri, they're making a deal with Google, of all people, to use Google's Gemini.
Right.
Gemini by Google is Google's AI tool. And so Apple made a deal with Google to, why would they make a deal with Google, right? I mean, it's because they're so far behind.
Like you mentioned, and Google is so far ahead with how they've done it. I personally have Gemini on my Samsung device. That's what they've replaced my voice assistant with. And it works well. I would have to say it definitely works well. There's some bugs still, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And there will be for a little while, but it definitely works. It works better than what the basic voice assistant was able to do.
So yeah, and again, I use Grok for everything AI, and I have to have the Grok app, iPhone app on my phone, and it's not as up to date though as the Grok app inside X. So if you go into X, use Grok inside X, that's up to date.
You've been listening to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Welcome back to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Leavitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore. You can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline over at 407-478-8200, or go ahead and leave a comment in the open mic section in the WDBO app. And David, we've been talking about the upcoming Apple conference, the developers conference here coming up, and a lot of it's focused on AI, but really what are we looking at as far as like a market impact from all of this discussion? Where is AI really driving the marketplace?
Oh, well, that's a good question, because Apple, they're expecting probably around $2 billion in new revenues based on what comes out of this conference.
Wow.
So that's a lot of features to download for people. And so, and their stock trades at about 25% of premium right now. So that conference has to deliver this year. It's extremely important. You put that in there along with the stuff going on with the tariffs and Apple deciding to build iPhones in India instead of the U.S. now. Apple's at a critical crossroads right now. They're, for their, what do they charge for an iPhone now? About $1,000 or more
minimum. I think that's where the what used to be the cheap ones starts at, right?
Yeah, and they probably cost $50 to make. I don't know how much. Apple, don't sue me, but they can't be that much.
Right?
Come on, it's crazy.
Yeah, the profit levels on those have to be pretty nice for Apple. I would have to agree on you with that. I guess my biggest question really does kind of drive where AI has really driven the marketplace over the last year. We've talked about NVIDIA's stock exploding. Mm-hmm. We've talked about all these different companies coming out of the woodwork as AI companies now that are developing their product. I guess it's really kind of where's the tech market going to go post AI? Is AI it right now, or is AI the bubble that we've experienced time and time again in the tech market?
Oh gosh, I mean, AI right now is not even the bubble, not even close to being the bubble. It's not even close, Greg. It's a pimple.
Yeah,
it's small. It's nothing right now compared to where it's going. I mean, it's huge. Right. It's a huge deal. But the impact it's had right now is what I'm talking about. The impact that it's already had is just so you could probably fit on a pinhead compared to the impact it's going to have just in the next 3, 5, 6 years, 'cause especially like for medical reasons, individual care based on your own DNA. I mean, stuff like that. It's really going to be impacted.
The impressive things that are coming with AI development. You've been listening to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Hey there, and welcome to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Leavitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore. You can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline at 407-478-8200. Or if you have a question, go ahead and leave an open mic inside the WDBO app. Don't forget to check out the website at refreshcomputers.net or stop at the Refresh Computer Superstore in Longwood at 820 East State Road 434, just 3.5 miles east of I-4 in Longwood. Store hours are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And if you're listening to the show here on Saturday, that means you still have time to stop by. They'll be open today until 7 p.m. And now, the man himself, David Leavitt.
All right. Thank you, Greg. And thanks, everybody, for listening to Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. I'm going to get into some really good deals going on at the computer store here in just a minute. But I want to recap a little bit about what we talked about in the first half of the show, which was all about Apple, basically Apple News, their Worldwide Developers Conference, what's expected to come out of that, why Apple invited 1,000 developers to the conference this year, and what it means to Apple, and what they need to come out of this conference in order to keep pushing along at a strong, healthy pace that they've been known to do for over the years. So if you missed any of that, you can go to the website and listen to this show in its entirety without commercials. And it's at refreshcomputers.net. Click on the podcast link right there at the top. You'll be able to hear this show. And we've been doing this for a podcast version of the show. Well, we've been doing the show for about 17 years now, but the podcast version for about 3 years. So you can go back and listen to old topics. And, sometimes that's kind of fun, Greg, go back and listen to a show 3 years ago.
Right. Listen back on the progression of our AI conversations, right?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, we were talking about AI. I mean, before it came out in the news, before it was made a big deal out of.
Right.
We had a whole show dedicated to that. And also quantum computing. That's another biggie that is out there on the horizon. That's already being developed. They're already making quantum computers. And, and what that means. We had a whole show once about integrating AI with quantum computing.
Yeah, well, recent news of Microsoft partnering to reopen 3 Mile Island is a big portion of their they need that additional power to help power these kinds of quantum computing and servers, fields, and things like that.
Yeah, quantum computers take so much power, and but they pump out so much information so quickly. So anyhow, so this deals segment, so everything I want to talk about during the deals segment here is available in our store right now. And you can also go to the website at refreshcomputers.net, and you can find all of these deals. You can pre-order it right on the website. You can indicate that you're going to pick up at the store. Heck, we'll even bring it out to your car for you if that's what you're looking for. We can do that as well. So listen up to these deals because, another topic we talked about was Windows 10 expiring. So every computer I'm going to be talking about here are Windows 11 computers, not just Windows 11 capable. They have Windows 11 on them already. So, and these have brand new solid state drives. I'll throw that out there. And nobody refurbishes computers better than Refresh Computers. There may be somebody that does it as well. And we've had whole shows of talking about how we refurbish computers and what it means to get a truly refurbished computer. And if we get time, maybe I'll touch up on that a little bit towards the end of the deal segment here. But let's get right into it. If you're looking for an everyday laptop that's Windows 11 Pro, it's $199.99. It's a good entry-level laptop. This laptop will do for you what most people use a laptop for. So you'll get your emails, check your bank accounts, go to YouTube, watch a YouTube video, all those kinds of things. What people typically use a laptop for. That's all you need. That's a Latitude 3300. It's a 13.3-inch screen i5 processor too. $199.99. It's just a super, super, super deal. And we have a Lenovo ThinkPad, and all of these, by the way, that I'm mentioning are business class also, which means they have stronger hinges. The motherboards are bigger, beefier motherboards. You open up a consumer-grade laptop, and you see one little tiny section inside the laptop where there's a little tiny motherboard.
You're like, why is all this plastic here?
Exactly. Well, for the screen. Yeah, it's for the screen and the keyboard. But if you open up one of these business class laptops, you'll see that the motherboard actually fills at least half of the space inside there, if not, 3/4 of the space inside the laptop. Why? Because they use beefier components on the motherboard, better components. They're going to last longer. I'm telling you, folks, that it's the only way to go. And nobody refurbishes these things like we do, as well as we do. So we have the Lenovo ThinkPad X13, also a 13.3-inch laptop, i5 processor. It's a 10th generation laptop. So, it's not very old at all, and has a 256 gig solid state drive in it. Windows 11 Pro, it's $299.99.
And with those 13.3-inch size screens, they can actually be used as laptops. You can use them on your lap.
That's
Some
right.
of these bigger ones that we are going to talk about, which are impressive in their own right, they're more of a tabletop.
Exactly.
Some of these, they fit on your lap. They're comfortable to use while you're on the couch, and like you said, just trying to do your basic everyday kind of things.
Or in the airport, because they all have Wi-Fi built in, and you use them at the airport and
Convenient
class,
to travel with.
Wherever. Yeah, and these little 13.3-inch laptop screens, they fit inside little backpacks really easily. And just very easy to bring along with you, on a trip. So you want something with a little bit bigger screen, well, quite a bit bigger screen actually. I'm going to talk about the next two laptops here, which are the Dell Latitude 5500 is one of them. This is a model that we get in. We've in the last couple of months, we get them in. They sell so fast, but they're $349.99. i5 processors, 16 gig of RAM, brand new 256 gig solid state drive, Windows 11 Pro. Again, if you need to upgrade your computer or laptop to Windows 11 and you want a wider screen, this is a pretty good option for you for only $349.99. Again, don't forget that brand new solid state drive. It's a 15.6-inch screen. So what do you typically get with a wider screen like that? You get the keyboard, you get the full-size keyboard with a number pad on the right. So
I do love a good number pad. So.
Yes, me too. So much quicker. And it's the equivalent of having two monitors as far as productivity is concerned.
Yeah, I think so too. And as an old retail manager, I definitely got more accustomed to using a number pad as opposed to the traditional numbers across the top. My mom would get mad at me for typing. We would take typing class at home. And I would go to use it, and she's like, "That's not the way to do it."
Yeah,
but it's more convenient for me.
We get a lot of QuickBooks users to buy in this one because you need that number pad, so you're constantly putting in numbers somewhere, and so a lot of QuickBooks users will buy this. And so again, the Latitude 5500, $349.99. It's a $1,000 laptop, and it's $349.99 at Refresh Computers. Again, go to refreshcomputers.net. You can see all of these right there on the website, and with a more detailed explanation, pictures, and all that good stuff right there on the website. And so the next version I want to talk about is also a Dell Latitude, which is an 11th gen laptop, which is a fairly new laptop. It's a 3520, 16 gig of RAM, 256 gig solid state drive. Again, the Latitude 3520. Windows 11 Pro, $499.99. It's just a super, super deal on a super, super commercial grade laptop, $499.99. So maybe you might want to replace your desktop. And by the way, folks, if you have a computer or a laptop or desktop and you're not sure if it is upgradable to Windows 11, then give us a call at the free tech support hotline, which is 407-478-8200, and we'll let you know over the phone if yours is upgradable. And if it is, right now it's a free upgrade, and we'll talk you through that over the phone. It won't cost you a dime if we can do it over the phone with you. Sometimes you got to bring it in because some drivers and other things need to be updated, and there's a nominal fee for that. But, and sometimes your computer's running really slow anyway, and it's still capable of running Windows 11. I still say bring that one on into the store. We can take a look at it. We can speed it up for you. We can help you get your free upgrade to Windows 11. And it's a lot cheaper than buying a replacement one.
And I think that's a lot of people, they get so concerned. They're like, well, my computer's already running slow on Windows 10. I don't want to put the new operating system on there and bog it down even more. But oftentimes, that's not the reason it's being slowed down, right?
It's true. And here's the thing. A computer, that's why I get onto these municipalities. They get rid of their computers every 3 or 4 years. We had a whole show on that once, too. It's because all you have to do is refurbish these computers correctly about every 3 to 4 years, and you can just keep on going because it is going to slow down over time. It's going to bog down over time. It's just a natural occurrence because of leftover files, and you're going to have fragmented files out there. It just happens, and there's nothing you can do about it. But clean it up. We can clean it up for you. Bring it on in. We'll get it all cleaned up before we load Windows 11 onto it for you, and then you'll have like a new laptop or a new desktop. So, that's definitely the route to go. But if you can't go that route and you have to upgrade to another machine, well, then you should see us for that as well. So I just mentioned a whole bunch of laptops, and I started to get into the desktops before I got sidetracked here. I sidetracked myself, by the way, Greg. That wasn't you. And I'm not blaming
okay. I can be distracting sometimes. It's all right.
So we have, this desktop here. Man, I'm telling you, I can't keep enough of them in stock. I keep getting them, so they're still available, but they fly out of the store. It's the EliteDesk 800 G4. And why do they fly out of the store? Because it's a nice commercial grade desktop computer, small form factor. It's going to be about 13 or 14 inches by about 13 or 14 inches by maybe 4 inches thick. Windows 11 Pro. Brand new 256 gig solid state drive, 16 gig of RAM, all the RAM most people will ever need. It's only $199.99. So $200 desktop will get you up to Windows 11 Pro. This will be a 6 to 8 year desktop. And like I mentioned earlier, it might need another refurbishing run, in 3 to 4 years, but it'll last you a good 6 to 8 years, this desktop. So, why would you want to go out and buy a brand new one? Because you know what? When you open it up, you put it all out and you turn it all on, you're going to get a bunch of bloatware. You're going to get a bunch of pop-ups from brand new computers, which we don't put on ours. And guess what you have? Now you have a used computer. So what? So, there's no shame in buying a refurbished computer, especially when you can get a quality refurbished computer from Refresh Computers.
And especially if it's going to last 6 to 8 years, like you said. If you're someone that's got a child in school that you just need the computer for them to do some of their schoolwork on during that, you've got your next 6 to 8 years worth of schoolwork available to be done on this small form factor $200 computer.
And I say all the time, some of my favorite customers are ones we only see every 6 to 8 years. Why is that? Because the last one they bought from us was 8 years ago, and it's still running strong, but they need a replacement now because, maybe it's a Windows 10 machine and they need to go up to Windows 11. So we also have a very, very popular Dell Optiplex 7060. So this has been a mainstay from Dell, the Optiplex computer, for years. This is a type of computer that you find inside ATM machines, for example, that are always on, right? So they have a beefy power supply and it's a small form factor, so it's still going to be that 13 or 14 inches by 13 or 14 inches by about 3 or 4 inches thick. But these things have a great motherboard on them. They have a nice power supply, beefy power supply, i7 version. It's $269.99, and Windows 11 Pro again. 16 gig of RAM, brand new 256 gig solid state drive. And this version of the Optiplex 7060 that we have has a video card in it that will take up to 3 monitors. So you can plug 1, 2, or 3 monitors into this Optiplex 7060, $269.99. Folks, I just got in about another 100 of these. So if you're a business and you need to upgrade a whole bunch of computers because they won't go to Windows 11 and they're old Windows 10 machines, this is the machine that a lot of businesses are buying from us today, and to replace their older, outdated equipment that can't upgrade to Windows 11. We have this is I don't want to say it's a monster PC, but it's bigger, it's beefier, it's a tower. It's a Dell Precision 3630, also i7 processor. This tower is awesome. It's 16 gig of RAM, brand new 512 gig solid state drive. This has an NVIDIA GeForce 1060 video card in it, built in. This computer's $399.99. Heck, the video card's almost worth that much. And, it's not the latest and greatest video card, but, you're not going to be playing super video games with this one. No, you're not. But if you have, you're an architect or you're somebody that needs a nice display, you do some video rendering and stuff like that, this one will help you with that, and it'll definitely be a lot better. $400, Windows 11 Pro. And so that's the Dell Precision 3630. Let's talk about an all-in-one. We have the Lenovo Idea Center 3, 24-inch touchscreen all-in-one. So all-in-one meaning, it has the monitor and the computer's built in, and it also has 10th generation, brand new 256 gig solid state drive, Windows 11, $399.99. And the bonus with this one, Greg, is you get a genuine Lenovo wireless keyboard and wireless mouse included, and the wireless keyboard and mouse combination is a $70 package all by itself.
What a great deal. And again, it's genuine equipment as well, which is something that we've talked about a lot here on Tech Talk, about making sure that you have that original OEM equipment for some of these things, because the third-party ones that they've come out with, some of them, the lower level ones, they're just garbage.
Well, they are. And, we see it every day. And bring in your old laptop, your old computer. We don't need the cords or anything like that. And bring in your old computer or laptop, and we can do file transfers for you also. That's very important. I mean, we typically do that while you wait when you're buying a computer from us. And, sometimes it can take longer than you would want to wait, quite frankly. Depends on how big your existing hard drive is. Also depends on how healthy that hard drive is. Sometimes we'll get right in the middle of doing file transfers and find out your hard drive has a virus on it, and which we just found with one customer. If you're listening, you know who I'm talking about. Anyhow, so look, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some businesses who have done business with Refresh Computers.
You've been listening to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Hey there, and welcome back to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Leavitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore. You can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline, 407-478-8200, or go ahead and leave an open mic inside the WDBO app. And all of those deals that you just heard in our last segment, you can find those on the website over at refreshcomputers.net. Or you can also stop in at the Refresh Computer Superstore in Longwood at 820 East State Road 434, just 3.5 miles east of I-4 in Longwood. Store hours are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you're listening to us on here on Saturday, that means you still have a chance to stop by until 7 p.m. today. But David, that also means if you're listening to us on Sunday, you can still swing by this Memorial Day Monday for deals all day at the Refresh Computer Superstore. Is that right?
That's right, Greg. We are open on Memorial Day. We are only closed 3 days out of the year, with the exception of Sundays. We're closed every Sunday. But other than that, there's 3 days that we're closed. That's Thanksgiving, that is New Year's, and that's Christmas Day. So we're closed those 3 days, open all other days except for Sundays. And just want to, take a moment and remind everybody that, Memorial Day is to mourn and honor our deceased servicemen and women. And that's what it's all about. It's not a day to be happy. So it's not a happy Memorial Day. You'd never hear me say that. And anyhow, just a reminder. So we would like to talk this segment. We're going to talk about some businesses who have done business with Refresh Computers just in the last week or so. We had Isla Mapping. They purchased an expansion Synology drive bay. What is that? That is your own cloud storage, basically. And, Isla Mapping has been working with us for many years, and they have many Synology drive bays. They keep expanding their operations, and they also purchased, some 16 terabyte drives to go in that Synology system. So we're happy to deal with Isla Mapping. Rent-A-Land Tents and Events. They purchased one of our Dell Optiplex 5070 micro PCs. Dreammaker Spas. I don't want to forget mentioning them, folks. We're not going to have time to list everybody here, but Dreammaker Spas, they had us come out and perform some on-site work for them there in Lake Mary. So that's all we have time for, folks. Don't forget that website, refreshcomputers.net, or the free tech support hotline, 407-478-8200. This is David Leavitt, owner and founder of Refresh Computers. Signing off. We'll be talking to you again next week.